I've been mentioning for a while now that I want to start making samurai film reviews, and I can think of no better time to start than now as we get into the Sengoku Jidai in the main series. So with that said, let's take a step away for a moment and take a look at a classic samurai film. That of course being Akira Kurosawa's 1954 masterpiece, Seven Samurai. As I'm sure you are all well aware, there are a lot of videos that already review Seven Samurai and sing its many well-deserved praises. So really, this video isn't going to be your typical review, but rather why you should watch it, from my perspective, as someone who went to school for studying both history and film. Now, if you've already seen Seven Samurai, that's great. You can officially consider yourself a cut above the rest. In fact, feel free to leave a comment below about what you may have liked about the film, or didn't like. It's up to you. So, let's get started, shall we? Seven Samurai. No doubt you've heard of this film, as it's usually considered one of the greatest films of all time, up there with the likes of The Godfather, Star Wars, Casablanca. You get the idea. But what makes this film so well known? Well, to put it plainly, it's because of how influential this film was, as it would not only go on to be remade into a western in that of the Magnificent Seven, but also because of how simply it set the standard for the small heroic group versus the large menacing army of villains trope that can be often found in many movies to this day. In fact, many of Akira Kurosawa's films have gone on to inspire other films in the West. Most notably, his 1961 film Yojimbo was remade into a spaghetti western, A Fistful of Dollars. And of course, his 1958 film, The Hidden Fortress, would leave a lasting impression on George Lucas, who would base much of A New Hope off of elements from The Hidden Fortress. But why Seven Samurai? What makes it so iconic and often viewed as his greatest film? To start off, let's look at when the film came out. The year was 1954. The United States was just finishing up its occupation of Japan following the Second World War, and Japan was now looking like a vastly different country after being injected with a large dose of American culture and democracy. Previously, there had been samurai films often depicting popular old stories or myths, perhaps seen in the 1941 adaptation of The 47 Ronin, or even in Kurosawa's earlier work, The Men Who Tread on the Tiger's Tail. But nothing screamed pride in Japanese culture and history better than Seven Samurai when it came out. There had never been another samurai film on such size or scale as that of Seven Samurai, going over its original budget more than several times and repeatedly facing cancellation from Toho studio executives. The final product, however, would come to be known as the greatest Japanese film of all time. This was a different type of film. A long, slow-burning, epic and dramatic story of samurai during Japan's Warring States period. It doesn't focus on the stoic and heroic samurai of the later Edo period, which would often be depicted in classic samurai films, but rather it focused on simple ronin, masterless samurai, often considered outlaws or ruffians. The plot of this film is rather straightforward. Without giving too much away to those who have yet to watch the movie, it takes place during the later years of the Sengoku Jidai, as a small village is continually attacked by a large group of lawless raiders. The peasants come to the conclusion that in order to protect their home, they should attempt to employ several samurai from a larger nearby town to help defend their village. With nothing to offer other than lodging and food, it would be a tough sell for any samurai to take up their cause. Yet they do eventually find several sympathetic ronin, who do decide to accompany them back to the village in aims to stop the raiders. I know that its length, at nearly 3.5 hours, would probably turn most viewers away, unless you are a cinephile or simply enjoy Japanese history. But let me tell you, this movie flows extremely well. This of course due to its great pacing and editing, along with its terrific cinematography. Akira Kurosawa is known for composing his scenes in ways that are truly artistic and a treat to the eyes, often having his characters' actions and emotions largely emphasized. This has been said before, and I'm going to say it again right here, but Kurosawa's imagery gives meaning to the phrase, every frame a painting. Yet of course, how much we as viewers enjoy the plot of the film is heavily reliant on how much we enjoy the characters of the story and actors' performances, in which Seven Samurai both are incredible. as the characters' drama associated with them is all woven together in a beautiful web of connections. It even is stated that Kurosawa based all of his main samurai characters off of actual samurai in history. Now, to start off, the most iconic character of the film is Kikuchiyo, who was played by the legendary Toshiro Mifune, the man I like to consider the John Wayne of samurai films, as he would go on to star in, well, tons of them. The character of Kikuchiyo is wacky, odd, energetic, and to the point. He's obviously not a samurai, but he is incredibly stubborn not to let anyone think otherwise. The next character I want to mention is Kanbei Shimada, who was played by Takashi Shimura, another legendary Japanese actor you may remember from Gojira or Ikuru. Shimada is the voice of reason among the characters, essentially the leading figure, with a tragic past, and I feel most of the film's best lines come from him and his wisdom.
苦しい時には重宝な男と言ったの。苦しくなるのはこれからだが。
He's most importantly a mentor figure to the young Okamoto Katsushiro, who ends up getting romantically involved with one of the girls from the village to the dismay of all. Besides the other samurai, most other standout characters involve the many villagers themselves, who are cautious of the samurai they have allowed to enter their home. As the long film progresses, we get treated to a number of minor subplots that help to build up the connection we have to many of the characters in the film. In particular, a mission to free captured wives ends up being an incredibly tense moment for all involved. It's this combination of great character building and motivation that causes the climactic final battle to be truly epic. The final thing I want to mention is about the film's incredible score, composed by Fumio Hayasaka, who gives us one of the most memorable themes in the history of cinema. Normally, I'd like to discuss historical accuracy in my reviews, but everything here really checks out. It's understood that the film takes place during the 1580s, which puts it right in the midst of the Sengoku Jidai, also making the firearms that the raiders possess an entirely plausible scenario. In conclusion, Seven Samurai is a brilliant film, which shows much about the state of Japan during the Sengoku Jidai. The film itself, of course, going on to influence many films to come, not only in terms of action, but also in regard to character building and cinematography. I can easily give this film a full 4 stars, as it hits and exceeds the bar when it comes to its plot, editing, characters, and accuracy. So, just to reiterate, if you haven't watched Seven Samurai, I highly recommend it. The next video I make will be returning to the Sengoku Jidai series, but of course I do plan on making more Shogunate reviews in the future. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video and found it to be most entertaining.